This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour Radio Show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer. Brought to you by Pearshell Financial Group.
Some call me the sage from South Central. Others call me the czar of common sense. But you can call me Larry Elder. And you're invited to join me tonight, starting at 7, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
And we'll be talking to that very sage.
Oh, I love this music.
In just a couple of minutes, the czar. You can't stop using terms of Russian royalty. You refer to Larry Elder as the sage. I don't like the czar.
Okay.
All right. Kanye West, I had some choice words about Kanye West yesterday, but also about the attention that we give
the whole world was garnered.
Yeah, the whole world gives to Kanye West to amplify some of his silliness. Now, I actually went back and watched the entire
Oh, you did your homework.
30-minute interview on TMZ. This is how much I care about our listeners. I am willing to endure that kind of intellectual violence, so you don't have to. And most of what I said about Kanye West I stand by, but there were some additional things he said in context that matter.
You want me to play the money bite first?
The slavery
bite.
When you hear about slavery for 400 years, that sounds like a choice. Like, you was there for 400 years and it's all of y'all? It's like we're mentally in prison. I like the word prison because slavery goes too direct to the idea of blacks. It's like slavery, Holocaust Jews, slavery is blacks. So prison is something that unites us as one race.
Okay.
Right. So I addressed that in terms of what I
thought was what he meant.
Well, a suggestion of what he could have meant, because I don't pretend to know the mind of Kanye West or want to. Now here's Kanye West, like the Kanye West that makes you want to dismiss him out of hand. Kanye West first responding to the question of why he wore the MAGA hat, the Make America Great Again hat, last week, and started this whole imbroglio.
I mean, I'm an artist, right? So to ask an artist, there's infinite reasons. There's infinite reasons to the why an artist does something. An artist doesn't need suggestions. An artist needs paintbrush and a canvas. So this opened up a conversation. I'm probably going to do the least good explanation of why. I'm just connected with the universe, period.
Do you think he thinks highly of himself?
That's why I had to explain it. An artist doesn't know why an artist does what he does. All he needs is a paintbrush, and canvas, and some Ray Charles music to sample. That's all he needs. That's what an artist needs. But then Kanye did go on to say some things that provided some context to his self-referential pablum that was not pablum.
You're choosing to enslave people's minds. You're choosing to not let the truth be free. It's the mob. The mob tries to tell you what to think. The mob tries to make all blacks be Democrats for food stamps and stuff. It's the mob. And by the way, you're just talking to the emotion. When you get Candace, ask her, she's going to drop you the facts. We're going to have Candace on in a bit. The kid, if you ask the kid that stood in Tiananmen Square
here we go again, off the rails.
In front of the tank why he did it, he might not be able to explain that. But you can't diminish that moment if I can't give you the direct explanation.
I think Tank Man would be able to explain it better than Kanye explains wearing a MAGA hat. But his point about the mob and about thinking freely is a salient one. It's not a particularly novel one. It's only novel to Kanye, and it's only novel to Kanye because he doesn't, exist outside of his own mind. So there's nothing groundbreaking there, but I just wanted to point out he did talk about the idea of the slavery comment being in the context of we were enslaved by others. Now we're enslaving ourselves intellectually because we're forced to think alike. Otherwise, you're somehow not authentically black. That's what I think he was trying to say in part, and I just wanted to at least be fair if I'm going to be critical. For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by the aforesaid sage of South Central, who will have more sagacious perspectives on this than I, certainly. Larry Elder, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Dan and Amy, good morning.
Good morning. And by the way, I want to tell you that our cigar event on May 17th is already sold out, and people have already started camping out of the golf club where we're having it in advance of your arrival.
They're on a waiting list.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I know that original person was supposed to be Dennis Prager. I saw him last night at a fundraiser for Louis Gohmert, the congressman from Texas, and I said, Dennis, I'm too bad. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Great, and we're looking forward to having you in Chicago. So, just your perspective on the controversy surrounding the Kanye comments.
Well, first of all, I think you're right that what Kanye meant was that if you still believe after emancipation you're still a slave, that's on you. That's a choice. That's a mental construct that you made. Now, he didn't say it that way. It came out kind of stream of consciousness, but that is clearly what he meant. And the reason this is important to me, anyway, is that Kanye West, Candace Owens, has begun a conversation among young blacks that you don't have to be a Democrat if you're black. As you know, about 95% of black people vote for the Democratic Party at the presidential level, and people like Thomas Sowell, Walter Williams have written for decades that if the Republicans can just get 20%, 30% of the black vote, the Democrats are toast at the presidential level. This is why what Kanye West did was frankly so bold. Not even Hollywood. I got to tell you, there is not an A-list actor or actress in his or her 20s or 30s who's come out at Trump. Now, you can't tell me that 100% of all the actors and actresses in that age category are all for Hillary, but nobody has the cashews to come out and say what Kanye West said. And he's getting hammered. He's been called an Uncle Tom. He's been called a sellout. This is what happens to people like Thomas Sowell and Walter Williams and Clarence Thomas and Herman Cain and on and on and on. And Kanye West, in my opinion, is opening up a conversation that's long, long overdue.
Well, and then you have Congresswoman Maxine Waters telling him to shut up.
Well, I mean, how about that?
People,
How is that any different? How's that any different than Laura Ingraham telling LeBron James and Katie? What's the other player's name? The one that played for the Olympics? Kevin Durant. What's the difference between telling Kanye West to basically be more thoughtful about what you have to say versus what Laura Ingraham said when she told him to shut up and dribble? What's the difference? Where's David Hogg when we need him? Why isn't that bullying? How come Maxine Waters is not a bully? That's what David Hogg referred to Laura Ingraham as. And here Kanye West is simply saying, as you said, Dan, it's nothing revolutionary. You're free. You can vote for whomever you want. But believe me, that is heresy in the black community. It is heresy to say that you're in favor of Donald Trump. It's heresy to say that you're in favor of vouchers. It's heresy to say we ought to do something about the borders. Even though a number of black people feel that way, saying it out loud for a celebrity like Kanye West is a risk. Remember the relatively tepid comments that Bill Cosby made pre-rape when he was talking about black people need to pull up their pants, and he said there's a term called unwed mothers. Why isn't there a term called unwed fathers? He got hammered, and this is a Democrat who pulled the lever for Hillary. So what Kanye West is doing, even if people don't perceive it that way, believe me, is very, very brave within the black community.
Yeah, okay. I want to get your perspective on something else with the Rudy Giuliani disclosure last night, yesterday about reimbursing Cohen for the payment to Stormy Daniels, and then the back and forth now this seems to be coming to a head about the terms and conditions under which Trump will or will not voluntarily sit down with Mueller. This, of course, is all about impeaching Trump. Byron York had a good piece in the Washington Examiner the other day talking about the Trump impeachment trap. Everybody now is talking about the perjury trap that Trump is allegedly, that is being sprung for Trump by Mueller. But the impeachment trap for Democrats, York reminding Republicans and Democrats, I guess, that Democrats look to impeach George W., after the intelligence that led to the run-up of the Gulf War II was found to be illegitimate. And the problem is that even as unpopular as George W. Bush was ending his presidency because of the war in Iraq, the country didn't want to see him impeached, and Democrats suffered as a result. And are we on the cusp of something similar for the Democrats where they overplay their hand and hand the Republicans a chance to hold the House in the process?
Well, I think that's the fear of people like Nancy Pelosi. As radical as she is, she recognizes that if they're running on impeach Trump, as opposed to a pro-growth economic message, they're in trouble. But what is their message other than Trump is an a-hole? What do they have? $15 minimum wage? Let's repeal the tax cuts that people have been benefiting from and people now support. What is their message other than Donald Trump is an a-hole? We got to get him. And frankly, it doesn't really matter what he says to Mueller when they eventually work out something. And I think eventually they got to work out something. Maybe they'll limit the interview to 3 hours. I think is what Giuliani's talking about. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what he says. If the Democrats take over the House, they are going to move to impeach President Trump. I don't think they're going to be successful. I think I told you before, even though I'm an outlier on this, I believe there's 20 or 30 reasonable Democrats, if the Democrats take over the House, who'll say, wait a minute. If we get rid of somebody for reasons this weak, this lame, the next person who's gotten rid of might be our person. So I think there'll be enough people like that. But even I'm wrong, it goes to the Senate, as you know. It'll take 2/3 senators to throw him out of office. And there has never been a senator who's voted to throw a president out of office of his own party. And it's not going to happen now. It didn't happen with Clinton. It didn't happen with Andrew Johnson in the 1800s. So he's not going anywhere. But yes, there'll be impeachment proceedings if the Democrats take control of the House. No question about it.
And just a follow-up point on that, to your point, when it comes to independents, 38% support impeachment, 54% oppose. So there is some reason for Democrats to tread lightly.
Right, exactly. And the Republican brand suffered after Bill Clinton was impeached. Bill Clinton was not impeached for having an affair. As you know, he's impeached for lying under oath. So there were legitimate reasons, in my opinion, to impeach Bill Clinton. You don't have reasons here, but they are still angry about it, believe that Bill Clinton was impeached for political reasons, and many people are perfectly okay with impeaching Donald Trump for political reasons because you guys did it to us back in the 90s. That's how a lot of left-wing...
Hello?
Oh, did we lose Larry?
No, I hear you.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay. Real quickly, I'm sure you watched the interview last night with Rudy Giuliani and Sean Hannity. Rudy's saying that President Trump did repay Michael Cohen the money used to pay off Stormy Daniels. Now this morning, he's walking that back, saying no, he was paid the money, but the president didn't know what it was for. What storyline are you believing?
My storyline is I don't care. I don't care who paid it. I don't care whether or not it came from this person, that person. I don't think the American people care. I don't think it's relevant.
Okay.
All right. Simple enough. He is Larry Elder, and he's going to be in Chicago May 17th at Bolingbrook Golf Club for our cigar event here at AM 560. We'll have a fun conversation. And, Larry, do you have a particular brand of choice that we can line up for you?
Well, I was just thinking, Dan and Amy, that we've used the word, I think I've used the word cigar and Bill Clinton in the same sentence since we've been speaking. I don't think I want to do that.
Yes.
I'm not sure they're still contraband, but I've always enjoyed cohibas. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No,
that's a fine thing. We can
fine choice.
Rustle up some allegedly Dominican cohibas that may or may not be Dominican.
That's right.
He is Larry Elder. You catch him 7 to 9 p.m. weekdays on these very airwaves. Host of the Larry Elder Show, the Sage of South Central. Thanks so much for joining us, Larry. Appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan